Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dan-A-Plooza. My guest at this time is Maiacat Cosplay?
Yeah, Maiacat.
All right, I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah. yeah, I know. I did that thing where I picked a name that was really hard to pronounce.
And Maiacat is a cosplayer. For those who are watching and will be watching, so please follow her social media Facebook page at Maiacat Cosplay. Also, if you are in the Maryland area for Hagerstown next weekend, April 30th, May 1st, Maiacat Cosplay will be a guest. I'll be there, so check it out.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We've been waiting for it for like 2 years.
It's been delayed. It's been on hold.
Yep.
So that's the plug. I normally do a plug at the beginning. So I'm kind of curious because I've seen your different cosplays. I dug the Bandicoot one. Yeah, because I remember when that game came out on Nintendo 64, and just for research today, I watched the trailer of that video game, how it first came out, and look at the technology from then to now.
Yeah, so, but that game's such a classic. It doesn't matter whether it was 20 plus years ago that it came out, like people are still playing it. Like they just released it on the Switch and I was like, I need to download it again to play it.
There's a need.
So, yeah, for sure.
So what kind of made you decide to become a cosplayer, and why do you like that character in particular?
Well, I've always been like a nerd. Like growing up, I was always a nerd. My parents kind of introduced me into like nerd culture. Like I don't want to like age myself, but we had like an Atari.
Yes.
Yeah. And I grew up with like N64 and like Nintendo and things like that. And I've always been artistic. I got like the artistic gene from my dad. So I started cosplaying in 2016. And at that time, my sister actually went to a convention called Techo in Pittsburgh.
Okay, I've heard of that.
And she was kind of sharing pictures from it and whatnot. And I was curious about what it was. So I started like watching the cosplay videos on YouTube and whatnot and thought to myself, I'm a nerd. I like to think I'm pretty artistic. This looks like I can like mush together those two things. And so I just kind of hopped into it. My first cosplay I ever did was Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
And it was completely hot glued together and I had no clue what I was doing the entire time. But that was my first cosplay that kind of took me into that realm. And then I wanted to get my husband in on it too. And he's like, the only way that I'll do the cosplay thing is if you do Captain Falcon from Smash Brothers, which is like, it's like a whole bodysuit and a helmet. And I had never done anything like that before. And just, it was an absolute hot mess, but I had a lot of fun doing it and it was a good learning experience. So that's kind of what shoehorned me into it. And then I just kind of fell into it after that. And here we are.
Now, are you someone who likes to, buy the pieces and make your whole cosplay, or are there some things that are so hard to get that you have to purchase them, because it's hard to make?
It depends on the cosplay I want to do, number one, but it depends for me personally on whether or not I'll be competing with that cosplay, because I'm a competition cosplayer. So if I plan on entering a costume into a contest, I want to make sure to make as much of it as possible, because most cosplay contests require like 75% or more being made from scratch.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what drives how much I buy versus how much I make. And then it depends on like how much actual energy I want to put into the cosplay.
Right.
Because you have like your big costume, like usually people only make like one big costume per convention they go to, and then you kind of fill in the blanks with like casual costumes or costumes that you can just like get from your closet and things like that. So it really depends on if I'm going to compete it or not, how much I'm willing to make versus how much I'm willing to buy. It's cheaper to make everything for sure. Than it is to buy everything. But I've done both.
Yeah. And okay. Hey Rock Pit, thanks for watching. Saying hello to both of us. So thanks, Rock Pit.
Hello.
He's one of our regulars. So me, because I'm very much I like to say a noob of that as a cosplayer. A lot of my stuff is very store bought, but I buy like a piece here, a piece there, and throughout the couple of months, and then I put it together.
Piece it together, yeah. That's if I have to buy pieces, that's how I prefer to do it. Like I think I've bought 2 like complete costumes in the past. I bought like a rogue from X-Men, and I have like the My Hero Academia UA school uniform, but I usually do that. I buy like little pieces here and there and kind of like try and puzzle piece costumes together from Amazon and Walmart and Goodwill and everywhere.
Well, you may want to stock up a little bit. I've heard that Amazon may be charging more. They may add like a shipping charge of $5 for each thing. So
maybe that's good for me. Maybe I'll like start making more stuff.
Yeah. Not me. I just buy everything in bulk and then they just ship one thing. I'm like, it's $5. You're gonna ship me 5 things.
For sure.
So what are some of your favorite own cosplays?
Oh god. My biggest like dream costume that I did, like the first one that I did, was Gen Greymane from World of Warcraft. He's the king of Gilneas, and he's like my shining achievement, mostly because it was a lot of sewing, and I am absolutely not a seamstress. It took me 6 months to do like one jacket. It was awful. But he's like my shining achievement, and I have like brought some pieces up from him, so I have like his ears, and I actually made these from a fur jacket I got at Goodwill.
Awesome.
So he's a worgen, which means he's a werewolf. So I made his ears and his gun.
Oh, I like that gun. It kind of reminds me of like a flanker kind of gun or pistol for.
Yeah, and I have this thing with making claws, so I made his claws.
Oh yes.
So he was one of my first like shining achievements with that, and then I did Toothless, which is what I'm wearing on Saturday to Force State. And I don't want to show off too much of him, but this is his little shoulder piece that goes here. But he was a big one that I had my friend Harpy Vibes custom design for me. So he's a custom design. So he was another one I was really proud of. And then my last one that I did was from, I have this thing with like World of Warcraft. It's like my favorite thing of all time. So I did a fairy dragon from World of Warcraft, which is like a super bright and like colorful
look at that
costume. So this was like the headpiece that went on like that, and arm pieces and whatnot that go with that. Cool. Yeah, but I got one more piece here. This is his name's Alfredo, and he's like, if I had to do like my one piece of cosplay that I'm the most proud of, it's him, because he is a fairy dragon.
Oh wow!
That he's missing an ear right now because it fell off, so I have to put that back on. But he's my crowning achievement. I love him like more than I love my husband.
That's that's amazing.
Yeah. It's a labor of love for sure. It's a lot of YouTubing and Googling things and just figuring things out as you go.
Most definitely. Let's see. We have some comments also. that's interesting, Rock Pit. He said if he was going to do cosplay, he wants to either do Cobra Commander or Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Those are like those are hard if you want to like do them from scratch because of all the like military equipment and everything that goes on them. But I feel like if you were to like you take like Amazon and piece things together, you could probably make like a really cool looking military cosplay for that.
Yep. So I would recommend buying that Rock Pit instead of trying to make it, unless you have a lot of time to work on it.
It might take a while, but you could do it if you made it yourself. I don't know anything about like military cosplay, but maybe it's something I should put on my list.
But so what kind of conventions are your favorite to appear as a guest? Have you done many, or are you new to the scene?
I'm new to the guesting scene just because I like competing so much that like I'd rather go to a convention and compete than like guest. I'm also not like super into like doing prints and things like that. Cosplay is a hobby for me. It's not my like main source of income. So I don't like necessarily need to guess. It's fun. Like I have a lot of friends who guest, especially at Forest State. A lot of the cosplayers that guest there were all kind of in the same friend group. So I'm looking forward to that and like seeing people. But I mostly just like being on the floor and interacting with people and getting pictures taken and talking about things. I've done some guest spots, but most of the time when I'm guesting, I'm judging cosplay contests. So I'm busy like for like AFs. But my favorite events to like attend would be like I really like KatsuCon in Maryland, but that's like its own monster because it's like huge. I like mid-level conventions like ZenkaiCon in Lancaster is like my favorite one to go to every year, and it's usually on my birthday, so that's always fun. Forest State, I always have a blast at Forest State because all of my friends are there, obviously. And Techo, I'd say like anime conventions that have big game rooms and like panels to go to and stuff are usually my favorite because they keep you like engaged and interested throughout like the entire weekend.
That's great. And I've never heard some of the conventions that you had mentioned. I had heard of Tekka, so I find interesting, especially I didn't even know about the one in Maryland. So I definitely
it's like 450,000 person convention or something.
Goodness.
It's held in the Gaylord National Convention Center, which is basically like this enormous hotel that has like a village on the inside of it. It's insane, but it's a lot of fun if you can get over all the crowds.
Yeah. So what is it that you like most about being able to do I mean, I know you like to compete, but what is it that you like most about cosplay other than competing?
I think it's the creation process for me, being an artistic person. Like I was always in like art classes and creating art and everything growing up. So being able to sit down and take something that is a concept on paper and turning it into something that you can wear that's like in the 3D universe is probably my favorite part. I really like doing gaijinkas, which is taking an animal and converting it into a human. Hence the ears. So I do a lot of that, and I do a lot of gender bending, so taking a male character and reimagining them as a female character. So I really like that kind of creative process in cosplaying. And then, you get to wear it and go to conventions and you get to feel like a celebrity for a day. Like who wouldn't like that? So that's part of it too, but I enjoy the creation process and getting all the pieces together into the final look. That's something that kind of attracted me to the world of cosplay in the first place.
Let's see. Oh, Rock Pit, I didn't know that you were a Marine. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
So you might be able to get on some of that military stuff for your GI Joe cosplay. So
Yeah, he might already be halfway there. He might just have to rate his closet a little bit.
yeah. It's interesting because you and I share a lot alike with what you just said about why you like cosplay. I like to piece stuff together, and I enjoy how it makes people feel when I wear it and the interaction between that.
Yeah. Yeah, it opens up a whole world. Like all of my friends that I have now, like currently in my life, came from cosplay, because in the world of cosplay or conventions or anything like that, even if you're cosplaying from different fandoms, like I could be in my World of Warcraft costume and someone else could be in their Marvel costume and someone else could be in that costume, we're all still doing the same thing even though they're
Right.
different fandoms. So we automatically go into the conversation having that in common. So it makes it a lot easier to create friendships and foster friendships when you know you're going into it with a common interest, even if they're completely different fandoms. And I don't know anything about GI Joe fandom, but we cosplay, so we have that in common, so we can like start a friendship on that ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I have, because I've been to Four State twice, and I do know Megumi Cupcake. So I
Yeah.
do know her. Um, I think the first one I went to, that was when it was at the skating rink.
That was my very first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to it was called Winter Pop and Comic Wonderland, I think was the name of it. That was I actually entered the costume contest there. It was my first ever costume contest with my husband's Captain Falcon, and I did a meta night and we did a group costume and we entered the group and we won. So my first costume we entered and I won, and that was kind of like the hey, I can actually do this. Let me keep doing it kind of thing. And I think it was her and Kaylee Marie Cosplay and Sharon Rose Cosplay were judging that year, if I believe. And I'm friends with all of them now. So it's fun to see how things have evolved over the last 6 years from like where I was to where I am now.
Yeah, I would say most definitely. I think I went to the one before that because it was like in the spring
Yeah.
of that year. But and then I went to the one where I think they had it at a different location. And I can't remember the location, but they had it. I think it was maybe about 2019. I want to say.
Was that might have been the one at the was that the one at the hotel?
I want to think so. They had people from The
Yeah.
Walking Dead and
That sounds like it was the one from at the hotel. Yeah, I go to Four State every year because I live like a half an hour from.
okay.
Like I go to both the Hagerstown Four State and the like they took over Harrisburg Comic Con, so I go to that one too because I kind of live right in the middle. So I just go in either direction
That's
when they
right.
have them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a 2.5 hour drive for myself. So it's all right. I don't mind it. But eventually I would like it to happen more where I live. We have PopCon, which is normally in August, and that has been getting better throughout the years. And then they tried to have Mountaineer Comic Con, but it was hard with the COVID and people didn't know about coming and everything like that, and people showing up. So I would like to see it develop more. And I think sometimes it's hard in certain areas to get a convention going.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live.
Yeah, it depends on the demographic around you as well. Like I'm surprised so many people go to them like around where I live because it's very like Amish farm country. But we actually have a lot of conventions that happen in the area because we have Four State that happens twice a year, and then Zenkai Con in Lancaster happens, and there's one back in my hometown called Sci-Fi Valley Con and
Okay.
SetsuCon that happen all the time. So
Yeah, that's in Altoona, PA. Yeah, I've been there before.
yeah. Yeah. That's where my very first convention ever was Sci-Fi Valley Con. It just worked out. Well, my mother-in-law, you can see the convention center from where she lives. So I was just like, let's just go because it's right there. So
Yeah, that is a good convention. I think I went there 2014. I think that's when I
mm,
went there. They had the Batmobile. I was very
yeah.
excited about that, and they had the car from Christine.
Yeah, Casey, who runs Sci-Fi Valley Con, Casey, he does a good job at pulling in those like big, like heavy hitting pop culture like icons like the Batmobile and the Ghostbusters. And I think they had the DeLorean one year.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, he does a good job with bringing in the like big pop culture stuff.
And I think that that's important because it speaks to generations,
Hmm.
of people who are watching it just now and people who've watched it a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, you get all sorts of demographics of people to like usually at like Katsucon or Otakon or the anime conventions, the demographic is a little younger. Like I'm I'm in my 30s and I'm kind of at the like upper end of that. But with the pop culture stuff like Steel City Con and Sci-Fi Valley Con and things like that, you get kind of a demographic that spans a lot more, many more age groups than the other conventions.
Yep. And I've seen that too, and it's interesting to see somebody who's like much older
Mhm.
enjoy the cosplay. I've seen people into their 50s, 60s enjoy it as to
Yeah.
people who are like two. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of interesting to see that because you feel like you all belong and you don't really even know each other, but you all feel connected.
Exactly. That's what I love so much about the like not just the cosplay scene but the convention scene again because you could go in with completely different fandoms or interests but you're at this convention and there's something there for everybody. So, it makes it a good experience for most people.
Definitely. Now, do you like to look around at other things at the convention, like other vendor tables, when you are working as a guest or competing? Do you like to make a stop at that?
Yeah, I try and wander around. I really like it. This is gonna sound awful. I really like it when I compete because usually there's a cash prize and then I spend my money on the vendors. That's what I like about Fourth State is they give out con cash. So when or if you win, you get like gift certificates that you can spend at any vendor. So I just kind of go like I always did my Christmas shopping at Fourth State because I had all this con cash that I could spend. But I do like hopping around and looking at things. I like plushes, and I shouldn't like plushes. I like getting art and prints of cosplayers and things like that. But mostly, I just like to people watch. I love looking at people's cosplays and talking to them about their creation process or like where they got their costume or who commissioned it. So that's like my favorite part. I could just like sit in a hallway for like 8 hours and just watch people walk past, just looking at them, looking at their cosplays and admiring the cosplays.
And I think that's normally like with a lot of us. Like I've been like the assistant for cosplay people, and normally I want to, like check like this, and they're like, "Dan,
Hmm.
help me with my boot and my shoe." I'm like, "Hold on, let me finish purchasing," and then I'll.
Yes. Listen, though, there needs to be more love for cosplay handlers. I don't think
Yeah.
cosplay handlers get enough love. Because without like having a handler, there's no way I could wear some of my costumes. Like
Oh,
Toothless has a huge tail that can't drag on the ground, so I have a handler that carries the tail while I'm wearing it. They carry all of your bags, they fix things. Usually it's my husband or my mom or my friend and I'm always like let me buy you dinner, let me buy you a drink, thank you so much for helping me out. Like I don't think cosplay handlers get enough credit, but like I wouldn't be able to function most of the time because I like claws and I can't like move my hands or carry anything.
carry the
So
money.
no, I can't even like access my cell phone. So I need someone that has access to a cell phone to like call people. So yeah, they like cosplay handlers, like we appreciate like more than anything.
Yeah, and I've even seen the some people are dressing as cosplay medics, and like they have like a medic thing, and they have
Mhm.
like all the tools to fix any cosplay.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember at KatsuCon one year, my friend John, he is part of the Mando Mercs, so he had a Mandalorian costume on, and his scanner fell off of his helmet and went clink on the table, and there was a cosplay medic coming down the escalator, and she just like zoomed around and was like, "I heard a clink," and she had like her super glue ready to go, and she was like, "How can I help?" Like, it's amazing how that's become, because they used to have like cosplay repair like spots in conventions for that.
Mhm.
And it's a relatively newer thing within the last couple of years where you've had people like they're walking around with like a huge backpack on just with anything you need in
Mhm.
it. They're like the life force of conventions.
They're always there when you need them.
They are. They seem to just kind of pop out of the woodwork as soon as they hear something like tear. They're like, "I'm here."
How did you? I was going to duct tape, but you have something much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I have a safety pin here, but you have super glue, so
Well, I think that's great. And so before we end, is there anything you would like to say or promote for yourself?
well, I'm gonna obviously promote Fourth State because it's like 5 days away. I have so much. I'm like such a procrastinator, and like I've known about this for like 2 months, and I'm still like I haven't done what I need to do for it. But yeah, if you are in Maryland, come to Fourth State because it is a riot and it's a load of fun. I am running a panel at 1 on Saturday for cosplay for beginners, so like a cosplay 101 panel where we'll talk about like what cosplay is and some different tips and tricks to getting into costuming and cosplay and conventions and competing and things like that. And then if you have a costume that you've made that you're proud of, you need to enter it into the contest because the Four State costume contest is phenomenal. It's one of the best costume contests I've been a part of. So I will promote that till the day I die.
I thought I'd show you a little piece of my costume
Yes.
right here. So there's my Dilophosaurus.
I
He's
love it.
he's a hand puppet, you know.
I love that.
It was interesting for Halloween. I wore my Dennis Nedry, and like I would give kids candy. Like I would put it in the bowl, and like I would dump it out. And like this one kid, he loved dinosaurs so much, he just sat on the ground. He's like, "Tell me about dinosaurs," and he just like didn't want to like leave.
Oh, I love that. And I love like interactive pieces and costumes like that too, where like it's one of those like attention getters and it gets you like interacting with people.
Yep. I have that. I just ordered the shaving cream where it opens in the bottom.
Yes, the Barbasol.
Vials in there, and I have like a stick that I throw, and like he just looks at me when I throw the stick, and you know, so I have like
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
like that. But and I have Butterfingers because I'm just sitting there eating the Butterfingers. That's my favorite thing. So it's a lot of fun. I have a sign that says that's not the magic word. So
Oh, I love that. Like it's the like details for me that count in costumes, like the little things that you don't think of, but are so like integral to like that character
oh
that
yes.
I just love to see. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters. I always think that it was a great character in Jurassic Park, and I love Jurassic Park, and it's just like everybody always wants to be Dr. Grant or John Hammond, you know. And I'm like, I don't need to be the fourth Sam Neill of this group.
But he's one of the most like memorable characters. I feel when
yeah.
I think back to Jurassic Park, I think of that character, and I'm like, I remember him probably like the best out of the other characters.
Oh, I do, you know. So well, I want to thank you for being my guest on
Yeah,
Dan-A-Plooza. I will see
absolutely.
you at Fourth State. We're also talking about doing a Dan-A-Plooza. We're going to do like a cosplay panel. So maybe we'll get all kinds of cosplay guests, and we'll have like maybe a bunch of us. If you're
Yeah, for
interested in
sure. Yeah.
that. So, all right. Well, everybody, unfortunately, our next guest, everybody, had a back issue. So we're going to reschedule him. But later on tonight, Reanimate Her will be our guest, and she does horror content, and she has her own podcast, Coffee Horror Chats, every Sunday. So we're going to look forward to go into the horror realm and talk all things horror. So thank you, everybody, and stay tuned for more Dan-A-Plooza. And end. What did you think?